information tonight about the shooting of 3 police officers in Palm Springs, California. 2 of those officers killed. The 3rd is likely to be released from the hospital today. Tonight, the suspect, a gang member, is in custody after a 12-hour standoff. You can see him there. He barricaded himself inside a house after the shootings. Police flooded the house with chemicals to force him out.
When he emerged, he was wearing soft body armor, and he had a number of high-capacity magazines on his person.
Just before the shootings, the suspect's father told a neighbor his son was armed, quote, acting crazy, and wanted to shoot police. One of the officers he killed gave birth to a daughter 4 months ago. The other was scheduled to retire in December.
A man in critical condition tonight after police opened fire on him in a dead-end street. It happened near 44th and Mercington. That's just blocks north of Emmanuel Cleaver in Cleveland. 41 Action News reporter Lisa Benson talked to neighbors who say they want to know more.
There's still a lot more questions than answers, but what we do know is the driver's run with police ended here at 44th and Mercington after he hit this dead-end road and police saw his weapon. The interaction started just before 3 o'clock this morning with a call of shots fired near 37th and Wabash. Officers saw a driver leaving the area and began a pursuit. The driver successfully eluded police until he got to 44th and Mercington, a dead-end street. Responding officers reported seeing a gun on the driver. They opened fire, striking the suspect.
This is too close to home. Too close to home.
Darian Jefferson lives across the street from where the shooting took place. She wants to know more about what led to the gunfire, but trusts police did the right thing.
But I think our police officers here in the Kansas City, Missouri area do a pretty good job of policing, protecting us, especially with the police chief that we have.
Lisa Benson, 41 Action News.
The suspect is in critical condition. The officers involved are on paid administrative leave.
Nasser Al-Omari, author and political commentator, thank you so much for being with us. What does that mean when we see Saudi Arabia is continually pounding civilian areas? Now, perhaps you heard our previous guest, Mr. al-Bakhadi, that said that this is actually trying to revenge the killing of a military officer that took place yesterday by Yemenis against Saudi Arabia. But the Saudis have targeted civilians and hundreds of civilians.
Yeah, thank you for having me. You know, my deep condolences to the hundreds of families who have lost loved ones today. This is a massacre. This is collective punishment directed against civilians who come to these funeral services in Yemen and offer their condolences. They had not, I am sure, the overwhelming majority of them had nothing to do with this conflict. They had nothing to do with the war. But in the Saudi mindset, if you deal with the Houthis, even if you offer condolences to the Houthis, then you are automatically a criminal. This is the medieval mindset that we have warned the world about for years. In their minds, the death of civilians is justified. So if they want to get one individual, if they want to kill one enemy, in their minds, killing hundreds who happen to be in the vicinity is justified. People find it hard to believe this, but this is the Wahhabi value system. This is the royal family's value system. They really believe that the killing of civilians, whether they're Yemenis or Americans, as we saw in 2001, the killing of civilians in this medieval mindset is justified to send a political message or to take revenge, as the previous speaker said.
We're looking at least now more than 100 civilians killed. We're, of course, continuing, unfortunately, to update these numbers, and at least 530 people wounded. Mr. Al-Omari, where is the outcry? Do you think that we're going to see an outcry from the so-called international community this time around? We're talking about more than 10,000 civilians, or the majority of them that have been civilians in Yemen that have been killed in a year and a half. And we do not see the constant airtime dedicating to Yemen and these onslaughts, the brutal bombings that are taking place by Saudi Arabia. Do you think that we're going to see a change perhaps this time around?
We have to. I believe that the Obama administration can end this in a few hours. All they have to do is order the Saudis to stop this useless campaign against the Yemeni people. The American administration can stop it in a few hours, and I hope that they will move after they have seen that this royal family has no respect for human life. It doesn't fight on principle. It doesn't fight for legitimate political or military reasons. It fights to take revenge. It fights to punish its own foes and enemies. And it doesn't care that 20 million Yemenis are on the brink of hunger and on the brink of famine. So I believe that the Obama administration has the ability to stop this, and they should, because they have given the Saudi royal family 2 years to make any progress in Yemen towards a political process, and it hasn't happened. So whatever the Saudis were trying to accomplish, today's massacre has shown us that today's massacre trumps whatever it is that they set out to accomplish in the first place.
Well, do you think, you talked about the Obama administration, that they can put a stop to it immediately? Does Washington want to put a stop to it immediately?
Well, unfortunately, you know, the Obama administration listens to the Saudi narrative, the Saudi royal family's narrative. And a lot of people have questioned that narrative. They have questioned that narrative vis-a-vis what's happening in Yemen. They have questioned the relationship between the Saudi royal family and the successive American administrations. This is the same administration that resisted going after Saudi Arabia for their involvement in the 2001 terrorist attacks against the American citizens. And again, they do it for political reasons. They do it because they think the Saudi royal family is a useful foreign policy tool. Unfortunately, we have seen that that tool can backfire, and it has brought death and destruction to Yemen. It has killed Americans, and it has helped spread terrorism, which the United States views as a priority in its role internationally. The Saudi royal family, with the Wahhabi sect in Saudi Arabia, have brought terrorism to places like Iraq, like Syria, Yemen, like Indonesia, like Pakistan. So I am not sure that this narrative can continue, given all the destruction that we are seeing in the Middle East and beyond.
Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Nasir Al-Omari, author and political commentator out of New York.